Should you work 70 hours a week, or should you work 40 hours a week and have a nice work life balance? As a software engineer, what should you do? Here is my take. So, if you have not heard from the news, recently Infosys co founder Narayan Murthy just said in an interview that Indians should work 70 hours a week because this is a time and a phase for the country for development, for a long term development. So, if we are to grow at the same pace China and others have grown, then during their times they have worked a lot harder and build the country for that generation, and the next generation enjoy the developed country. So we should do the sacrifice. We should work more. uh, let's say 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week is just a number, but we should work a lot harder, give a lot more time, and make a lot of productive work, and the development will help propel India towards a very high rate of development. So, me and you, we at the IT industry, what should we do? Here is what I think on this. We should ask ourselves, are Indians hardworking or are we hardworking? So, if you look around, you look at everyone that works around you, not in IT professions, but outside. Let's say your maid, your security gateman, the Swiggy and Zomato people, the people working at the Flipkart and other stores, the inventory people, and everyone, the people at the shop. So during festival season, during the season when the workload is high, you if you visit them, you see how hard they work. They work without a very minimum amount of sleep. They work rigorously because they have to pay for their family, so they have to survive. They need money, so they try to earn as much. They work a lot, and the country, this huge country, is not running on its own. It is run by a lot of hardworking people. So there is no doubt that blue collar jobs, the people working at blue collar jobs, work really hard to make a living, to make some extra bucks, to have savings. They want to have as much as they want. They do not care much about work life balance. They work a lot hard. Should they work harder? You should be worried about following trends like from countries like China and other countries where like people do not take care about the workers. They do not care about the health and life of others. There have been many human rights complaints, so it's they are not the ideal ones. So you cannot make their life more miserable than it already is. But for IT people, the case may or may not be different. We do not want just to survive, but we also want to live a good life. We want to eat well, stay in a good place, but also have the occasional vacation. We want to take the time off to spend with our families. Are we able to do that? Some of us are, some of us are not. It depends on where you work, what you're working on, and how is the work culture, what is the workload. If you're loaded too much and if you do not have much of a say, you cannot get things off your plate and you have to work really long hours, or you want to work really long hours, in that case it will be great. But if you do, then there are people who you see when you see the roads, you see people coming from office back at 9:30 in Bangalore. So you see a lot of people working for long hours. And then there are people who are having a nice work life balance. They are doing well, they are being productive. So now what's the solution? Should you work more? Should the people who are not working for 70 hours a week, let's say they are working more than 40, they're working around 50 hours a week, they should put on the extras 20 hours a week. So now we have to think that what will that achieve? So that will make the productive outcome like better for your company for the work you're doing. But if it does, because if you overwork by exhausting yourself, the more you work, the less and less productive you get by the end of the day. And at the end of the day, you feel like going to home, but you're forcing yourself. So that's not the best scenario. But you have to think of what do you produce. It's about productivity. It's about what you produce and what we get out of the 70 hours. So here is my what should you do is you should put 70 hours a week if you can. You may have responsibilities, you may have a life outside, you will have a life outside, and there you may have some serious responsibilities. But if you have kids and you have a family and you have to take care of them, in that case you should prioritize your family as well, because what are you working for after all? Who are you working for after all? So work is not everything. But at the same time, if you can squeeze out some more time, because we spend a lot of time wasting time. So let's say in our phone or watching Netflix or watching a show. So those, I am not telling you to stop completely, but if you can cut down on those and get some more time, what you should do is instead of working longer hours on your job, you should put the extra 30 hours after working the 40 hours. You should put the extra 30 hours on learning, on acquiring new skills, and on working on side projects which you actually want to do, which you're excited about. Let's say you want to make an app, let's say you want to make a game or a website which will use some backend technology or tricks to make it look really cool, and which is what you're not getting to work on at your day job. So after your day job, you can work on those. You will acquire those skills, and it will be great in the future. So what it happens is, finally you can only work so much. There is limited amount of time, but what you can get out of 1 hour, each hour of your work, that is productivity. What you should do is you should sharpen your axe rather than all the time trying to cut down the tree. You should work on your skills more, and you should work on side projects. You should work on things that excite you, so that your life is not miserable. You're happy, but at the time also you are gaining more experience in different skills. And if you're more productive in that way, then even if you work for 35 or 30 hours a week, you may get more out of that in the after the next 4 or 5 years of upskilling yourself, rather than working on 70 hours a week now and getting just a little more out of it. So productivity is more important than spending time, and productivity will come when you spend time. It's not like you go through some course and suddenly you'll be more productive. You should go through courses which are good, but then you have to implement them. So that requires practice. So you need more time. So there is no saying that you need to work for, like, so if you put down 70 hours a week instead of 40, it will be better for you if you can. But if you do that, it's better you work on yourself than you work on your job. So there is a quote from John Rim. He says, if you work harder on your job, you will make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you will make a fortune. With that thought, I leave you. Have a great 2024. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.